This is the last winter orchid show we went to in Victoria this year, and as usual, Cymbidiums seem to take pride of place. We've had that sort of year this year, that the blue and green frequencies of light haven't been up to what they normally are. Consequently, there's very few flowers out and around. This is quite a pretty Cymbidium, more on the traditional shape. This is a hard cane Dendrobium. There was quite a few of them there this year. Another Cymbidium up here up the top. Actually what we call cocktail orchids, because they have multicolours in them, and the breeders don't appear to be looking for shape and consistency anymore. It's just a matter of colours, so that people who are not orchid growers as such will think they're very pretty and buy them, but there's no shape or form, as can be seen by this white moth orchid here. Very poor quality, and there's very few of them available for show at the moment. They're just not throwing flowers at all. A pink Cymbidium, staple of most of the shows, and then one of the Oncidium alliance. I don't know exactly what it is. They cross many different species and come up with some really weird looking plants that aren't the usual brown and yellow colours of an Oncidium. Back to more Cattleyas now. Once again, I don't particularly like this shape. The sepals, as in the petals, are very skinny and they're not large and rounded and filling up to make a symmetrical shape. That's a Lycas, more a standard type orchid. Rather pretty. The colours aren't very strong, but it's not too bad. Now there's a better shape moth orchid, far better shape than some of the other ones we were looking at before. Quite symmetrical. I thought this was a pendulous Cymbidium, but in actual fact it's not. It's a normal Cymbidium that they haven't staked the flower spikes up. And there is a very pretty soft cane Dendrobium. Heaps of flowers on racemes. A lovely pink and white with a little bit of greeny yellow in the throat. More Cymbidium flowers. This is a seriously large plant. Look at the number of flowers on that. There's probably 15 or more back bulbs on that to produce that many flowers. It was in a very large pot. Quite striking. The shape's not particularly all that good, but there's a lot of flowers. There's another Cymbidium up there, pale of pink. That's a better shaped flower. The sepals are wider and broader. Another one, bit of extra orange in there. The lip doesn't look too bad with that red velvet colour on it. Up to a couple of Cattleyas up the top there, rather scrawny looking things, not much shape about those. Hard cane Dendrobium, based on Speciosum, the Queensland rock orchid. Lots of colour. Some more different colours up the back there. It's a bit busy with colour, I think. There's a lot of colour on that. There's a reddish colour Paphlopedium. More Dendrobiums up the top there. Quite a few flowers on that plant. I would suggest that plant is relatively old to be able to support that number of flowers. There's a pretty little hard cane Dendrobium flower. Not too bad, unusual in the colours. Brown, yellow and white, or creamy white in actual fact. More hard cane Dendrobiums. Little pink ones. Dendrobiums once again, hard cane. And down to more orange ones. People seem to like the multicolours. They're not so interested in the shape and form of orchid flowers these days. It's more sort of pretty colours apparently. But there are still some old school people like myself who do like shape and form and clarity of colour in their orchid flowers. That's that one we saw before. It's not looking too bad in actual fact. Now coming down here, we've got some more Cymbidiums. Isn't that a shock? Paler ones. Not too bad a shape, nothing to write home to mum about, I don't think, but they weren't too bad. There's some of the new form of cymbids with the scrawny sepals and petals on them. Some more of them again. There was a lot of those different type of orchids in multicolours at the show. I think they must be the latest thing. Everyone seems to be growing them. I wasn't impressed, but then that's only my opinion. They're not particularly attractive or pretty combinations of colours, but then moving around the hall further, there's another one. Pretty much the same. I think the cross was slightly different, but it looked pretty much the same. Another path. And then over to another cocktail moth orchid. Don't like them particularly. That plant looks like it came out of a big box store where they sell these things rather cheaply, imported from Taiwan. Hard cane Dendrobium once again. Now here we can see the broad petal and sepals and a nice wide mouth lip. That's what I like in a Cymbidium flower. That's more the old school shape, not the scrawny little new ones. Masdevillias, quite a few flowers on that plant. It would have a few bulbs on it for sure to produce that many flowers. Over to another Oncidium cross. I don't know what it is specifically, they're hard to tell. Might have Odontoglossum in it. That's where that reddy brown colour comes from. But a nice bunch of flowers on it, probably looks quite attractive to some people. And more zygos. You can see how dark the lip on that zygopetellum is. Very dark. They're always combinations of brown, white and purple. And the next one, that's also a zygo, and it had a very white lip on it. Hard cane Dendrobium, very much like the Cooktown orchid, Dendrobium bigibbum. It isn't in actual fact, but it looks like the same shape. More soft canes, some hard cane Dendrobiums there. Another one of those scrawny looking Cymbidiums. Not particularly attractive, but there it is, all the same. And what else have we got? Champion orchid apparently, it doesn't do much for me, but there you go. A Masdevillia. Strange colours, they tend to only be the single colour, so it's unusual to see them multicoloured. That's Paph insigne. It's a standard species orchid. You see a lot of those around at shows. They're very easy to grow.